Welcome back to the City Current Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference and powering the good. And we're honored to be here with Jay Harvill. He's a managing partner with Lipscomb Pitts Insurance, a Higginbotham partner. How are you doing, Jay?
Fantastic, Jeremy. Really excited to be here. Excited about the good things that are happening where I am here in Middle Tennessee, and looking forward to what's to come in 2023.
Absolutely. So you are leading our efforts in Middle Tennessee. It's awesome. You're a huge part of our City Current efforts, and we'll talk about that. But let's start with a little bit of context. When you talk about Lipscomb Pitts Insurance and Higginbotham, go ahead and give us some context. Let's start there.
Yeah, Lipscomb Pitts is a well-known name in Memphis and really across the Mid-South for the better part of, well over 70 years. 2 years ago, we merged our efforts with Higginbotham. We were the largest privately held firm in Tennessee. They were the largest privately held firm in Texas. And we just saw that we could do a whole lot more together. So with this partnership with Higginbotham, we've expanded our reach, our resources, our opportunities to serve our clients. And it's been a fantastic, fantastic partnership.
Let's talk about what you do. And so you've got property and casualty, employee benefits, personal lines, a lot of specialization. But when you talk about Higginbotham, Lipscomb Pitts, and all the specializations, give us the elevator pitch for what you do.
Yeah, and obviously when you say insurance, everybody kind of glazes over and puts it all in a bad basket. So I get it. It's not fun to think about. It generally involves bad things happening to you. My world is the property and casualty world, primarily for businesses. So we focus on helping large privately held businesses navigate risk and the risk they want to finance, going and finding insurance products to put together the right program to protect those risks. So I know that much about personal lines or life insurance or employee benefits, but when you talk about the world that our clients navigate as business owners, that's where I've been for almost 30 years.
Talk about the benefit of being a broker.
You know, there's so many segments to our industry, and really, I tell clients a lot of times it's finding the right segment that works for you. What we've done as a broker is we sit on the side very clearly of our clients. So our job is to help our clients navigate, as I said, the risks that they're facing, and then go find the right products. And what we often tell our clients as a broker, we've kind of taken it to the next step. We're really good. We can get you good insurance at a good premium and price. However, we want to spend about 70% of our time helping you find ways to not use the insurance you're buying. That's where our real focus and effort is. And I think that's where our industry is shifting, is because the idea of just buying insurance, we've got to add more value to the equation than just walking in the door and dropping a premium on somebody's desk. And that's where we've really put our efforts, and we feel like we're differentiated in that process.
So when you're sitting down with a client or a prospect and you're looking at, okay, where do we want to start? What are the things we need to be looking at? Where do you like to start? What are the things that you're starting to pull in terms of information to start getting that full view?
Yeah, that's a great question. And really, it starts in a bigger macro way, Jeremy, because as you probably know, you have a different risk tolerance than I do, right? Some of us like to take a little more risk. We may want to put our company or organization out there a little more by taking higher deductibles or even by self-insuring certain things. Whereas we've got other clients that really want to be conservative. They really want to be protected as much as they can be. So I think it starts, first of all, with understanding the risk profile of the organization. What is it they want to do and how they want to do it? Then our process kind of digs deeper into what is it they do and where are the liabilities in that process. You know, we often say you hired that first employee, there was your first liability, right? So anytime you've got employees and vehicles and facilities spread out, you're facing risk. So trying to analyze the operations, and then the third piece, stepping into the insurance side. How can we help protect those risks and design the insurance contract in a way that protects the insured? So it moves through a process, I guess, in terms of bringing on a new client and understanding them. And then obviously the longer they're a client, the more we can help because the more we know each other.
Absolutely. You mentioned the value added services being a trend and obviously moving forward. What are some of the other trends or things that have your attention right now, especially within your specialization, property and casualty for insurance?
Well, the biggest trend, unfortunately, this year is the uncertainty of the marketplace. From a financial standpoint, people are used to paying premiums. We know that economy goes up and down, and we're in a situation where, unfortunately, the premiums are going up. And it's really being driven by a lot of factors, Jeremy, for business owners to understand. You know, we see the headlines on the hurricanes that hit, but NOAA last year, they just put out a bulletin, identified 18 specific billion-dollar weather or climate-related incidents in the U.S. That's 18 billion, and these were over a billion. So obviously, there's significant of that is insured and impacts the industry. And then going along with that, something that's hitting all of us is inflation. So obviously, the parts, the lumber, whatever it takes to repair what was damaged costs more now than it did 2 years ago. So it's impacting the insurance industry that way. And then the costs of reinsurance. Insurance companies buy insurance too. And January 1, they faced what has been said the largest rate increase and the sharpest shrinkage in terms of capacity in a generation. So their costs have all gone up. And guess what? That means all of our costs go up as well. And so that trend is one that's really uncertain right now in our industry. And I think it's going to be a while till it works its way through the system.
Had a chance to interview Mary Russell with Higginbotham on the personal line side a while back. And one of the comments that she made that struck me was, this was for personal lines for homes, but she said that, getting insurance now in the coastal territories where the hurricanes are hitting, or in California with the wildfires, or Colorado, there are certain areas where insurance now, their companies are pulling out. And so it's almost impossible to get. And so when you look at a business that is located obviously in Tennessee that has these, branch offices or different areas, it can be very difficult, if not impossible, sometimes to get insurance. Are you seeing that play out in your world as well?
Absolutely. That shrinking capacity is happening. And particularly, as the insurance industry likes to say, if you have things that are in a cat-prone area, catastrophic prone, so coastal, flooding, earthquake, wildfires, if there's a potential for large loss, what we're seeing there is insurance companies are raising deductibles and then lowering limits as well. So whereas you might have gotten 10 million of earthquake from your insurance company last year, this year maybe they only offer you 5, and it costs the same or maybe more than the 10 did last year. So all of that is kind of feeding into this funnel, and I think it ties into the bigger economy of what we're dealing with as a nation right now, kind of post-COVID, and the economic concerns that we see spread across the industry.
Are there any creative problem solving, new ways of going about it? What are maybe some trends on that side when you look at transferring risk and looking at, okay, here's the situation we're in. Now, right, what can we do about it? So talk about creative problem solving, some of the things that may be newer that, are happening now. Is there anything like that?
Yeah, and there are many of those that I don't think get talked about in our industry enough, but the catchphrase is alternative risk transfer, right? All you're doing in buying insurance is saying, this is a risk I can't afford to keep, so I'm going to pay somebody to transfer the risk to them. And so what we're doing is trying to use a combination of things maybe to help address risks that haven't been done before on that particular client, if they're large enough, looking at things like taking large deductibles. Maybe they participate in the first $250,000 of any workers' compensation claim. Or maybe they do the same thing on their property, is say, well, we're going to take a $250,000 or a $500,000 deductible. And then we can go over and use what the language is as a micro captive to maybe fund for those losses, which allows the company to save for those eventualities, but also still get the benefit of putting it off the balance sheet and into a captive type arrangement where it can be invested. So we're doing some things like that. We're exploring, we just launched another one in January that's a new captive model, a full captive model for certain risks. And all you're doing with a captive, Jeremy, is it's simple. You're forming an insurance company, but you have to do it within the laws in the state that you choose to form the captive, and it's regulated the same way. But that can be real effective for some of these larger organizations because it takes the instability of the insurance market away. You can show your own loss history, and then you can fund for those losses for yourself and keep the assets and invest them potentially within the captive. So those types of things are really emerging as strategies now, and we're starting to see companies that are paying a lot less for insurance than they used to. Really, if you're paying $250,000, $300,000 in liability premiums, you ought to be looking at some of these things.
Yeah. And I think, just talking about it, like you said, raising awareness, talking about some of the innovations, the creative problem solving, it's like, okay, look, here's the situation. Let's figure this out and let's go in and do it together. And I think that's the power of everything we're talking about. Give us a little bit of a highlight on things like water damage, cyber, employment practices, liability, some of the other things that are buzzwords, but everyone kind of needs to know about.
Yeah, those are probably some of the most overlooked areas when we see privately held businesses. They'll think cyber, they've heard it, and they're like, yeah, I think we have some of that. Well, that's probably the fastest growing area of claims that we see in the country. COVID really accelerated it because it gave the cyber criminals more ports and opportunities to get into systems. So protecting a business really starts now because all of us are dependent upon the cyber world. We talk about that one a lot, and I know you've got some of our Higginbotham experts that are going to talk about that piece, but really there's a liability part where I've got to protect the data that I have that belongs to other people, and then there's a part that protects me as an organization from somebody locking my system down, and you've got to evaluate which parts you need and how much. But that is maybe the most overlooked area. We still see the take-up rate in this country at only about 35% of businesses being protected. So incredibly low, but something that needs to be looked at and examined. And employment practices is what protects an organization from those discrimination or harassment type claims from acting as an employer. So wrongful termination, sexual harassment, racial discrimination, age discrimination. And what we're seeing is a rise in claims in those areas because of layoffs, because of other things that are happening economically. So examining that part of the program is becoming real key to any employer that has employees. So that's a big part of that risk transfer strategy that we're helping our clients with.
What makes you hopeful when you look at, obviously we're early on in 2023, and as we've talked about, there's a lot going on, but what makes you hopeful? What encourages you for this year and beyond in terms of the insurance industry, in terms of these innovations, in terms of the ways that you're able to truly help clients and businesses?
The piece I get excited about, insurance is not exciting. Let's just face it. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody gets their policy and sniffs it and goes, oh, I love that new insurance policy smell. So the part that's fun and the part that is really getting involved with our clients on that mitigating risk side. And that's the part that is constantly evolving and is exciting. We're able now to leverage technology so much better and put the tools that our clients need in their hands or at their fingertips. One of the things we've done that's a little innovative there to take advantage of that is instead of just buying the program and saying, hey, Jeremy, you've got access, we actually have a client concierge. And her job is to assist our clients in utilizing those resources. She'll train you on them. You can email her and say, hey, I'm looking for this. I don't know where to find it. And Amanda in our office does a fabulous job of going and helping our clients take advantage of that. And that, as we see that happening, that does make me more hopeful that we're tying ourselves in to our clients and we're actually providing benefit to our clients. There's a dollar value we can track with helping them do these things, these training modules or these pamphlets or handouts or things for their clients, all of this data that we've got. So the technology piece, I think, is really going to help move our industry forward.
Touch on community engagement. You personally, your family, Lipscomb Pitts, Higginbotham, there is a thread of community service, of philanthropy, giving back. Talk about why investing in the community is so important for you personally and professionally.
I appreciate you asking the question, Jeremy. For me, I am a follower of Jesus, and in that vein, what we saw with Jesus' life is he was constantly giving of himself. And so, while I'm imperfect and I do a terrible job of mirroring him, I'm responsible to try to do my best. And so, for me and our family, that's always been a part of what we do, to try to look to other people's needs. I don't often see them. Sometimes I'm blinded, but as best we can, we look at the things that mattered. And within the Bible, you see these challenges to think about your local city, where you live, to think about your country, and then to think about people around the world. And so we've tried to get involved in all of those areas, sometimes personally and sometimes just involved with giving. But having deep connections there has been fantastic. And then, one of our proudest things is being able to be a part of an organization at Lipscomb and Pitts and now Higginbotham that supports City Current the way we do, and all that City Current does. It's just opened up more avenues for us to meet people, to serve people, to love people, and to be engaged in the world we live in. And as we always say, we're powering the good, right? Because when our communities are better, our lives are better. And that's when you see it come full circle.
Well, and you and your family, you're the first ones when you talk about City Current, Samaritan's Feet, where we get to wash kids' feet, give them new socks and shoes. You're the first to say, hey, I'm there. Let's go. So I love it. I love your heart of service and everything you're doing to make a difference. Wrap up with contact information. So website, email, where do we go to learn more about Lipscomb and Pitts, Higginbotham, and connecting obviously with you personally?
Yeah, we're pretty easy to find. Search Higginbotham on the old internet, or Lipscomb and Pitts. My email is jayh@lpinsurance.com. Feel free to reach out to me if I can help. If I can't, I'm the first to tell you, but we've got so many resources. We're constantly directing people where they need to go to get the help they need. Love this, love what we're doing here. Jeremy, I appreciate all the effort you put into being intentional, to being focused on your guests as we watch these shows. You really do a great job for us, and we appreciate it.
I appreciate it as well. Websites are easy. It's lpinsurance.com, higginbotham.com, or higginbotham.net. So all over the place, makes it very, very easy. But Jay Harvill, thank you for all you do, my friend. Thank you for coming on the show. Greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely. Good to see you, Jeremy. Thank you.